Have you ever found yourself wondering, what really makes a man completely captivated by me? Maybe you've tried being overly accommodating, going the extra mile to show him how much you care, or even holding back your true self to keep the peace. Yet, somehow, it feels like all those efforts just don't land. You're left questioning, am I doing something wrong? Here's the hard truth that no one tells you. Captivating a man isn't about changing who you are. It's not about playing hard to get or drowning him in constant attention. The magic lies in subtle, almost counterintuitive actions that unlock his deeper attraction for you, moves that come not from manipulation, but from self-awareness and authenticity. Today, we're diving into the 7 stupidly simple, yet undeniably powerful ways to drive him absolutely nuts at you. These methods aren't gimmicks or tricks. They're rooted in timeless principles of personal growth, emotional mastery, and a little something I like to call Dark Stoic Psychology. Imagine this. Instead of stressing over what he's thinking or obsessing about what to text next, you become the woman he can't stop thinking about. The kind of woman who leaves a lasting impression not because of anything extravagant, but because of who you are at your core. But here's the kicker. You have to stay with me until the end to uncover the full picture. The final piece will tie everything together in a way that might just transform how you approach your relationships forever. Are you ready to step into your power, radiate confidence, and leave him wondering how he got so lucky to meet someone like you? Let's get started with the first strategy. 1. Keep him guessing with your mystery. Picture this. You're sitting across from him at dinner. He's leaning in, captivated by your every word. But then there's a pause. A question he asks, a little too eager, a little too curious. So, what's your biggest dream? Now, here's where most women make the first misstep. You feel flattered by his interest, and before you know it, you're pouring out your heart, laying every card on the table. While vulnerability is a beautiful thing, revealing everything too soon robs him of the thrill of discovering you bit by bit. Mystery isn't about playing games, it's about understanding the power of pacing. Men are natural problem solvers, and when you leave just enough unsaid, you spark their innate curiosity. It's the allure of the unknown that keeps him intrigued. Think of it this way. Have you ever picked up a book, only to lose interest halfway because the plot gave away too much, too soon? Relationships work the same way. When you maintain an air of intrigue, you create space for him to invest in learning more about you, layer by fascinating layer. But let's get practical. How do you cultivate mystery without seeming distant or aloof? It's all about balance. When he asks about your dreams, share a small, meaningful piece, but hold back some details. Instead of saying, I've always wanted to open a bakery in Paris, say, I've got a passion project I'm working toward. Maybe I'll tell you more about it when the time's right. See what happens. That tiny shift sparks curiosity. He's not just hearing words, he's imagining the layers behind them. Here's a secret. Men are captivated by women who challenge them emotionally. When you show glimpses of depth without revealing the whole picture, you activate his desire to earn your trust and uncover the rest of the story. And this isn't just anecdotal. Psychology backs it up. The concept of reward uncertainty teaches us that intermittent reinforcement is far more powerful than constant availability. When he doesn't know what's coming next, he stays engaged. And guess what? This doesn't just keep him intrigued. It keeps you in control of your narrative. By being intentional about what you share, and when you create the framework for a relationship built on mutual respect and curiosity, not one where you feel pressured to prove your worth. But here's the twist. Mystery isn't just about the words you choose. It's in your actions, your demeanor, the way you carry yourself. It's in the knowing smile when he asks about your past and you respond, that's a story for another day. It's in the quiet confidence of leaving a text unanswered for an hour because you're genuinely busy living your life. And let's not forget how this ties into Dark Stoic Psychology. True Stoicism teaches us to value what we control, our actions, our emotions, our narrative. When you embrace mystery, you take control of the energy you bring into the relationship. You're not just reacting to his interest, you're shaping it. Let me leave you with a question. Are you giving away too much too soon? Or are you allowing him the space to truly wonder about you? Stay tuned, because what's coming next will show you how to amplify this effect with the kind of confidence that makes him crave your presence. 2. Radiate unshakable confidence. Let's start with a question. When you walk into a room, do you feel like you own it? Or do you find yourself shrinking, hoping to blend in? Confidence, or the lack of it, is something everyone notices, whether they're conscious of it or not. And when it comes to driving him absolutely nuts about you, there's nothing more magnetic than a woman who radiates unshakable confidence. Now, let's clear up a common misconception. Confidence isn't about being loud or dominating the conversation. It's not about having all eyes on you or being the most outgoing person in the room. True confidence is quieter, subtler, but infinitely more powerful. It's in how you carry yourself, how you respond to situations, and how you own who you are without apologizing for it. Think about the last time you admired someone's confidence. Was it because they were shouting from the rooftops about their achievements? Probably not. It was likely the way they moved, the way they made decisions without hesitation, and how they seemed completely comfortable in their own skin. That's the kind of energy that draws men in. Men are naturally wired to be attracted to strength, not in the physical sense, but emotional and mental strength. When you exude self-assurance, it signals to him that you're someone worth investing his time and emotions in. So, how do you cultivate this irresistible confidence? First, let go of the need for validation. Stop waiting for him, or anyone else, for that matter, to tell you you're amazing. Know it for yourself. This might take time, and that's okay. Confidence is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Start by recognizing your own worth. What do you bring to the table? What makes you unique? Write it down if you need to, and revisit that list every time self-doubt creeps in. Second, embrace imperfections. Confidence doesn't mean being flawless. In fact, it's the opposite. It's about owning your flaws, laughing at your quirks and showing up anyway. Men find this refreshing because it makes you human, relatable, and real. Third, practice decisive energy. Have you ever seen someone waver over every little decision? It's exhausting. On the flip side, a woman who knows what she wants, even in small things like choosing a restaurant, commands respect. Start small by making choices confidently and standing by them. But let's take it one step further. Confidence isn't just about how you feel inside, it's about how you present yourself to the world. Pay attention to your posture. Are you standing tall or slouching? Make eye contact when you speak. Let your voice carry assurance, even when you're nervous. These subtle adjustments send a powerful message that you're comfortable in your skin, and men notice. Here's where Dark Stoic Psychology comes in. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of the rest. Confidence is about controlling your internal narrative. Instead of dwelling on what you lack, you channel your energy into what you can do. This mental shift doesn't just transform how you see yourself, it changes how others perceive you. Now imagine this. You're meeting him for coffee, and as you walk in, you don't fidget or nervously adjust your hair. You smile warmly, make eye contact, and greet him with calm energy. Do you know what that does to him? It tells him you're not just another woman hoping for his approval. You're someone who already approves of herself. And here's a little secret. Men crave the kind of woman who doesn't need them but chooses them. That choice becomes infinitely more meaningful when it's coming from someone who knows her own worth. So, let me ask you. Are you ready to let your confidence shine? Are you prepared to stop apologizing for taking up space and start owning it instead? If this resonates with you, do me a favor. Like this video and comment number 1 if you believe confidence is key. And don't forget to subscribe if you're ready to step into the most magnetic version of yourself. Trust me, what's coming next will take your allure to an entirely new level. Stay tuned because the next tip is all about giving him just enough space to crave your presence even more. You won't want to miss it. 3. Let him miss you by giving him space. Here's a paradox that may surprise you. The less time you spend chasing his attention, the more he'll find himself craving yours. It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? But let's unpack this powerful dynamic. One of the biggest mistakes women make is thinking that constant communication and proximity strengthen a relationship. While it's important to show interest and build connection, overwhelming him with attention can have the opposite effect. Men, by nature, are wired to value independence and the thrill of pursuit. When you're always readily available, you take away the very thing that makes him feel deeply drawn to you, the space to miss you. Imagine this. You're always the one to initiate texts. You're the one planning the dates, checking in, or filling any gaps in communication. At first, it may seem like you're being thoughtful or showing how much you care. But over time, this can inadvertently create a dynamic where he starts taking you for granted. Why? Because availability breeds familiarity, and familiarity, while comforting, can sometimes dull attraction. It's the old adage, absence makes the heart grow fonder. But let's take it one step further. Strategic space doesn't just make him miss you, it reignites his sense of curiosity and appreciation for you. Let's be clear, giving him space isn't about playing hard to get, it's about understanding the natural ebb and flow of relationships and leveraging it to create a healthier, more balanced dynamic. Here's how to do it. First, focus on your own life. The most effective way to create space is by filling your time with things that genuinely excite and fulfill you. Pursue your passions, spend time with friends, dive into hobbies you love, or explore something new. When you're fully engaged in your life, you naturally become less available, not as a tactic, but as a reflection of your priorities. Men are deeply attracted to women who have their own vibrant world. It signals independence, ambition, and self-sufficiency, all qualities that make you more alluring. When he sees that you're living a full, rich life without waiting on him, it sparks admiration and intrigue. Second, resist the urge to over-communicate. This can be challenging, especially in the early stages when you're excited about the connection. But instead of texting him every time something happens in your day, pause and ask yourself, does this conversation add value, or am I just filling the silence? Silence can be powerful. When you're not always the one reaching out, you give him the opportunity to notice your absence. That small gap of time creates a sense of longing, even if he doesn't realize it consciously. Third, be intentional about your availability. This doesn't mean ignoring his calls or pretending to be busy when you're not. It means being mindful of how you allocate your time. If he suggests plans at the last minute, don't drop everything to accommodate him. Instead, let him see that you have your own schedule and commitments. This subtly communicates that while you value him, your time is precious, and that makes it even more meaningful when you do spend it together. Let's take a moment to connect this to Dark Stoic Psychology. Stoicism teaches us the importance of controlling what we can and letting go of what we cannot. By giving him space, you're choosing to focus on what you can control, your own energy and priorities, instead of clinging to the outcome of his attention. This shift not only empowers you but also deepens his respect for you. Now, here's where the magic happens. When you give him space, something fascinating occurs in his mind. He starts to wonder about you. What's she up to? Why hasn't she texted yet? That sense of curiosity, that slight pang of longing, it's what reignites his interest and keeps him coming back for more. At the same time, this space benefits you just as much as it benefits him. It gives you clarity. When you're not constantly focused on him, you have the freedom to reflect on your own feelings and assess whether the relationship is meeting your needs. But let me be clear, giving him space doesn't mean withdrawing affection or playing cold. It's about creating a dynamic where your presence feels like a privilege, not a given. When he sees that your time and energy are valuable, he's more likely to step up and invest in the relationship. Here's a story to bring this to life. Picture Lisa and Daniel. Lisa, eager to build a connection, found herself constantly texting Daniel, often planning their next meetup before the current one even ended. At first, Daniel seemed excited, but over time he became less responsive, his texts shorter and less frequent. Feeling frustrated, Lisa decided to shift her approach. She started focusing on her own life, picking up a yoga class she'd always wanted to try, reconnecting with friends and pouring energy into her work. She stopped initiating texts and waited for Daniel to reach out. The change was almost immediate. Daniel began texting her first, asking about her day, and even planning their next date himself. By giving him space, Lisa had unknowingly created the room for him to reflect on how much he valued her presence. This story isn't unique. It's a dynamic that plays out time and time again because it taps into fundamental human psychology. So, let me leave you with this thought. Are you giving him enough space to truly appreciate you? Or are you inadvertently smothering the spark with constant availability? As you reflect on this, remember that the next tip is about amplifying this effect by showing him just how incredible your independent life is. Don't go anywhere, because this is where things really start to get interesting. 4. Show him your independence. Let me ask you this. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word independent? Do you picture someone who has their life together, someone who radiates strength and ambition, someone who doesn't rely on anyone else for their happiness? That's exactly the image we're painting here, because independence is one of the most attractive qualities you can embody. Here's why. Men are naturally drawn to women who have their own passions, goals, and identities outside of the relationship. When you live a life that's rich and fulfilling, you become someone he admires, respects, and wants to be around, not because he's the center of your world, but because he sees how amazing your world already is. But let's address a common misconception. Independence doesn't mean pushing him away or refusing to let him be part of your life. It's about balance. It's about showing him that while you value the connection you share, you don't need him to complete you. And that distinction is powerful. Imagine this scenario. You're out with friends, laughing, having the time of your life. He texts you, and instead of dropping everything to respond immediately, you wait until you're free. Why? Because you're genuinely enjoying the moment you're in. That simple act of prioritizing your own joy shows him that you're someone who values her life, and that makes your presence all the more desirable. Let's dive deeper into how you can show your independence in ways that drive him absolutely nuts about you. First, pursue your passions fearlessly. What lights you up inside? Is it a career goal, a creative hobby, or an adventure you've been putting off? Whatever it is, lean into it. When he sees you chasing your dreams with passion and purpose, he won't just admire you, he'll feel inspired by you. Your independence becomes a beacon that draws him closer. Second, maintain your social circle. It's easy to get caught up in a new relationship and start neglecting friends or other relationships in your life. But here's the thing. Men respect women who maintain strong connections outside of them. When you make time for your friends and family, you're showing him that your life is multifaceted and full of love, not just for him, but for the people who matter to you. Third, make decisions confidently. Independence is as much about mindset as it is about actions. Be decisive. Whether it's choosing what you want for dinner or planning your next big move, show him that you trust your own judgment. Men are drawn to women who know what they want and aren't afraid to go after it. Here's where Dark Stoic Psychology plays a role. Independence, at its core, aligns perfectly with the principles of Stoicism. It's about understanding your own value and refusing to let external factors dictate your happiness. When you embody this mindset, you radiate a sense of calm strength that men find irresistible. Let me share a quick story. Emily was in a long-term relationship with Ryan, and things had grown a little stale. She realized that she had started prioritizing Ryan's needs over her own, sacrificing her passions and losing touch with the vibrant, ambitious woman she once was. So Emily made a change. She signed up for a dance class she'd always wanted to try, reconnected with old friends, and started dedicating more time to her career goals. The transformation was instant, not just for her, but for Ryan. He began to notice her confidence, her happiness, and her renewed sense of purpose. It reignited the spark between them, because he saw her as the incredible, independent woman he fell for in the first place. Now, let's make this practical for you. Ask yourself, when was the last time you did something purely for yourself? Are you prioritizing your own growth and happiness, or are you putting them on hold for someone else? Independence isn't just about what you do. It's about the energy you carry. When you show him that your world is already full and thriving, you're not just attracting him, you're inspiring him to step up and be part of something amazing. If this resonates with you, If you believe that independence is one of the most magnetic qualities a woman can have, then show me some love. Like this video and comment number 1 if you're ready to embrace your independent, high-value self. And don't forget to subscribe. This journey of personal growth and relationship mastery is just beginning, and I'm here to guide you every step of the way. The next tip will show you how to set boundaries that command respect and deepen attraction. 5. Set and maintain firm boundaries. Let's talk about something that separates women who command respect from those who find themselves feeling overlooked or undervalued: boundaries. Setting and maintaining firm boundaries is one of the most empowering and attractive traits you can bring into a relationship. Why? Because it signals self-respect, confidence, and emotional maturity, all qualities that high-value men find irresistible. Think about it. When you let someone treat you however they want without addressing it, what message does that send? It tells them that your feelings, your needs, and your standards are negotiable. And while kindness and flexibility are wonderful traits, boundaries are what ensure you're treated with the respect and care you deserve. Boundaries aren't about being rigid or unapproachable. They're about knowing your worth and not settling for less than you deserve. They're about creating a space where mutual respect can thrive. And here's the kicker. Men are naturally drawn to women who have the strength to enforce boundaries because it shows them that you value yourself enough to stand up for what you need. But how do you set boundaries in a way that feels natural and confident? Let's break it down. First, identify what matters most to you. Before you can enforce boundaries, you need to know what they are. What behaviors or situations make you uncomfortable? What are your non-negotiables in a relationship? Whether it's being clear about how you expect to be treated or setting limits on your time and energy, take the time to define your standards. Remember, boundaries aren't about controlling others. They're about protecting your peace. Second, communicate your boundaries early. The earlier you establish boundaries, the easier it is to maintain them. When you're upfront about your expectations, you avoid misunderstandings down the road. For example, if constant texting or last-minute plans bother you, let him know in a calm and respectful way. You might say, "I value my time and like to plan ahead, so I prefer knowing about plans at least a day in advance." Simple, direct, and clear. Third, stand by your boundaries with confidence. Here's where many people falter. It's one thing to set boundaries, it's another to enforce them consistently. If he crosses a line, don't ignore it or make excuses for his behavior. Instead, address it calmly but firmly. For example, if he's dismissive of your feelings, you can say, "I don't feel respected when my concerns are brushed off. I need us to communicate more openly." This isn't about being confrontational, it's about standing up for yourself with poise. Now, here's the fascinating part. Men often test boundaries, consciously or unconsciously. They might push just a little to see how far they can go. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, it's human nature. But how you respond is critical. When you hold your ground, you earn his respect. He sees that you're not afraid to walk away from situations that don't serve you, and that makes you even more desirable. Think of boundaries as the foundation of your self-worth. They protect your energy and ensure that you're building a relationship that's balanced and respectful. Without them, you risk losing yourself in the relationship, sacrificing your needs to keep the peace. And let's be honest, peace that comes at the expense of your happiness isn't peace at all. Let's connect this to Stoicism. One of the core principles of Stoicism is maintaining control over what you can influence, your reactions, your emotions, and your decisions. Boundaries align perfectly with this philosophy. By setting clear limits, you're taking control of how you allow others to treat you, rather than passively accepting behavior that doesn't align with your values. This is the essence of Dark Stoic Psychology, using self-awareness and discipline to create a life where respect and connection flourish. Here's a real-life example. Sophia was dating someone who had a habit of cancelling plans at the last minute. At first, she let it slide, thinking it wasn't a big deal. But over time, she started to feel disrespected and unimportant. One day, after another last-minute cancellation, she calmly addressed the issue. "I understand that things come up, but I need to feel like my time is valued. If this keeps happening, I don't think we're on the same page." Her firmness didn't push him away, it drew him closer. Why? because her response wasn't about anger or ultimatums. It was about clearly stating her needs and showing that she wasn't afraid to walk away if those needs weren't met. The relationship flourished from there because it was built on mutual respect. So, let me ask you, are you setting boundaries that reflect your worth? Or are you letting things slide in the hope that he'll change on his own? Remember, boundaries aren't just about what you'll tolerate, they're about teaching others how to value and cherish you. When you master the art of boundaries, you're not just driving him nuts about you, you're creating a relationship dynamic where respect, attraction, and love can truly thrive. And that's a power no one can take away from you. Up next, we'll explore how to be his emotional safe haven, the woman he turns to, not just for passion, but for peace. 6. Be his emotional safe haven. Picture this. A man comes home after a long, exhausting day. The world feels heavy, and his mind is racing with stress and uncertainty. In that moment, what he craves more than anything isn't just a romantic partner, it's a sense of peace, a refuge, a safe haven. The woman who provides that emotional sanctuary, she becomes irreplaceable in his life. Here's the truth many women overlook. Men may not always express their emotions openly, but they feel deeply. They're conditioned by society to keep a tough exterior, to solve problems on their own, and to rarely show vulnerability. That's why being his emotional safe haven is one of the most powerful ways to deepen his connection with you. So, how do you step into this role without losing yourself in the process? First, listen without judgment. This might sound simple, but it's transformative. When he shares something, whether it's a work challenge, a personal fear, or even a mistake he's made, resist the urge to jump in with advice or criticism. Instead, just listen. Let him feel heard without trying to fix or analyze the problem. Sometimes the act of listening is all he needs to feel supported. Think about it. Have you ever opened up to someone only to feel like they were rushing to solve you? It's frustrating, isn't it? Men feel the same way. When you create a space where he can speak freely, you become the one person he feels safe being vulnerable with, a rare and precious connection. Second, validate his feelings. Validation doesn't mean you have to agree with everything he says. It means acknowledging his perspective and emotions as valid. If he's upset about something, saying, "I understand why that would frustrate you," can go a long way in showing him that his feelings matter to you. This small gesture builds trust and intimacy. Third, be the calm in his storm. Life can be chaotic, and relationships aren't immune to challenges. In those moments of tension or uncertainty, your ability to remain calm and composed becomes invaluable. Instead of reacting with frustration or panic, approach situations with a steady presence. When he sees that you're a source of stability, he'll feel more drawn to you, not just as a partner, but as someone he can rely on when life gets tough. Here's where Dark Stoic Psychology plays a role. Stoicism teaches us to cultivate emotional resilience and focus on what we can control. By embodying this mindset, you're not just helping him, you're strengthening your own emotional well-being. When you remain grounded, you become a pillar of strength in his life, and that's something he won't take for granted. Let's make this practical. Being his emotional safe haven doesn't mean carrying all of his burdens or sacrificing your own needs. It's about striking a balance between support and self-care. If he's dealing with stress, you can be there for him without taking on his stress as your own. Offer comfort, encouragement, and perspective, but don't lose sight of your own emotional boundaries. For example, if he's overwhelmed with work, you might say, "I know things feel heavy right now, but I believe in your ability to handle this. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help." This shows support without overstepping. Here's a story to bring this concept to life. Maya and James had been dating for a few months when James started facing challenges at work. He felt frustrated, overwhelmed, and uncertain about his next steps. Maya noticed he was pulling away emotionally, and instead of pressing him to talk, she simply said, "I'm here whenever you're ready to share." When James finally opened up, Maya didn't interrupt or offer unsolicited advice. She listened attentively, acknowledged his feelings, and reassured him that she believed in his ability to overcome the obstacles. Her calm, supportive presence became a turning point in their relationship, James later admitted that her patience and understanding made him feel truly safe with her. This isn't about being a therapist or shouldering all of his problems. It's about showing him that with you, he doesn't have to pretend to have it all together. You're his partner, not his fixer, and that distinction is key. But don't mistake this for passivity. Being his emotional safe haven doesn't mean ignoring your own needs or tolerating disrespect. It means creating a space where both of you can express yourselves freely and grow together. When you embody this balance, you become the person he turns to, not just for passion but for peace. If this resonates with you, let me know by showing some love. Like this video and comment number 1 if you believe being his emotional safe haven is the ultimate relationship superpower. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're ready to take your relationships to the next level. The next tip will show you how to add an unexpected spark of romance that keeps him on his toes. 7. Surprise him with spontaneous romance. There's something undeniably thrilling about the unexpected. When a moment of romance catches you off guard, it lingers in your mind longer, doesn't it? It's those unplanned surprises, the little gestures that take you by surprise, that make your heart race and leave a lasting impression. That same principle works wonders when you want to drive him absolutely nuts about you. Men love excitement. They thrive on the unpredictable, the spark of spontaneity that keeps things fresh and alive. So, when you sprinkle in moments of surprise romance, you create an emotional high he won't soon forget. Let's be clear, spontaneous romance isn't about grand, elaborate gestures, though those can be fun. It's about small, meaningful surprises that show you're thinking of him in ways that matter. It's about keeping the spark alive by breaking out of routines and reminding him why he was drawn to you in the first place. Imagine this. He's having an average day, and suddenly you send him a thoughtful voice note sharing a funny memory, or telling him something you admire about him. Or maybe you surprise him by showing up with his favorite snack after he mentions he's had a tough day. These aren't grand declarations. They're subtle moments that show you've been paying attention. Here's why it works. Men are often creatures of habit. Their lives can feel predictable: work, gym, home, repeat. By injecting bursts of spontaneity, you become the element of excitement in his life, the one who breaks the monotony and reminds him that love is anything but routine. But how do you create these moments of surprise romance without feeling forced? Let's explore. First, tune into the little things. Pay attention to what lights him up. Is there a band he's mentioned loving? A food he can't resist? A place he's always wanted to visit? Use those small details to craft surprises that feel personal and thoughtful. For example, if he's mentioned missing his mom's cooking, you could find a recipe for one of her dishes and recreate it for him. It's a simple gesture, but one that shows you're listening and care enough to act on what you've noticed. Second, break patterns. Do you always go to the same places or have the same routines? Shake things up. Instead of dinner and a movie, plan something unexpected like a nighttime picnic with fairy lights or a spontaneous road trip to a nearby spot he's never explored. The key is to create memories that stand out because they deviate from the ordinary. Third, leave room for the element of surprise. Sometimes it's the smallest, unplanned gestures that leave the deepest impact. Maybe it's leaving a handwritten note in his car saying how proud you are of him. Or maybe it's organizing a fun challenge for the two of you to try together, like cooking a new dish or learning a TikTok dance. These moments are light-hearted, fun, and show him that being with you is an adventure. Here's where Dark Stoic Psychology comes into play. Spontaneity doesn't just keep him intrigued. It aligns with the Stoic principle of being present and intentional. It's about finding joy in the moment and sharing that joy with him in unexpected ways. When you surprise him, you remind him that life and love isn't about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about creating it together. A story to bring this to life. Samantha and Ethan had been dating for over a year, and their relationship was strong but starting to feel routine. Samantha noticed that Ethan had been stressed at work, so one Friday evening, instead of their usual dinner plans, she told him to pack an overnight bag. She didn't say where they were going, just that she had a surprise. They drove to a charming little cabin she'd rented an hour outside the city. Samantha had planned everything: a cozy dinner by the fire, his favorite playlist for the drive, and even a morning hike to a nearby lake. It wasn't extravagant or expensive, but the effort and thoughtfulness behind it left Ethan speechless. He later admitted that it was one of the best weekends of his life, and it reminded him why he fell for Samantha in the first place. Surprise romance works because it shows effort, creativity, and a willingness to step out of the ordinary. It's a way of saying, I see you, I care about you, and I want to make you happy. But let's address an important point. Romance isn't a one-way street. It's not about exhausting yourself trying to impress him. It's about creating shared moments that you both enjoy. When you surprise him, you're also adding joy and excitement to your own life. And here's a final thought. Spontaneous romance doesn't always have to be planned. Sometimes it's about embracing the moment when it feels right. Maybe it's dancing in the kitchen to a song on the radio or pulling him into an impromptu selfie during a quiet walk. These tiny, spontaneous acts build intimacy in ways words never can. So, take a moment to think. How can you surprise him in a way that feels authentic to you? What small gesture or unexpected plan could bring a smile to his face this week? When you become the source of joy and excitement in his life, you're not just driving him nuts about you, you're creating a bond that's dynamic, vibrant, and unforgettable. And isn't that what love should feel like? You've just unlocked the 7 powerful, subtle ways to drive him absolutely nuts about you. From mastering mystery to showing your independence, from being his emotional safe haven to keeping the spark alive with surprise romance, you now have a roadmap that isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about stepping into your authentic power. Let's take a moment to reflect. Each of these steps is grounded in something deeper than surface-level attraction: respect, balance, and a genuine connection. By applying these principles, you're not just creating chemistry, you're building the foundation for a relationship that's dynamic, fulfilling, and deeply rooted in mutual admiration. But remember, this isn't just about him. It's about you. These strategies align with a broader philosophy of self-worth, self-growth, and resilience, the cornerstones of Stoicism. As you embrace these tools, you'll find they don't just transform your relationships, they also elevate your sense of confidence and purpose. And here's the thing. When you embody these traits, something magical happens. You stop chasing love and start attracting it. You become the woman who doesn't just turn heads but leaves a lasting impression, because you know your value and carry your whole self accordingly. So, what's next? It's time to take these insights and put them into action. Start small. Try introducing a bit of mystery or planning a spontaneous gesture. Notice how he responds. But more importantly, notice how you feel as you step into this more empowered version of yourself. Your voice matters, and we want to hear from you. What resonated with you the most? Which strategy are you excited to try first? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experiences could inspire someone else on their journey. If this video has sparked something in you, an idea, a realization, or even a newfound confidence, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Together, we're building a community of high-value women ready to take charge of their lives and relationships with grace and authenticity. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Here's to becoming the best version of yourself, and to creating love stories that are as vibrant and meaningful as you are. Stay confident, stay curious, and until next time, take care.